Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. It's kind of just gonna be like a little chit-chatty video about some things that have been going on. So, they fucking finally ruled against Becky with the bad grades, fucking Abigail Fischer, who sued University of Austin, Texas, when she didn't get in like 8 years ago. This has been ongoing for like I want to say 8 years. Like in the time that this has been ongoing, she went to a different school and graduated and got a job as a business analyst and has been like working. So she basically sued the school because she felt like she didn't get in because of affirmative action and that, some fucking nigger took her spot basically. Now, the fucking real tea on that was that only 47 students with worse grades and worse test scores than Abigail Fischer got into the school. Out of those 47 students, only 5 of them were black. 42 of them were white. Only 5 of them were black. But, out of those 5 people, she was mad. She was mad that those 5 black kids got in, and she felt like, one of those black kids took my spot. And the policy that they have, this is a policy that they have at most schools, universities. I worked in the admissions office of my school. I did work study there. And this is a policy that they have at most admissions offices. They don't go just off of grades, because you might have hundreds of thousands of applicants that have exactly the same test scores. That's why when you apply to go to college, you have to write a fucking essay. That's why you have to get letters of recommendation. That's why they want to know about your extracurricular activities, because there's all different types of things that make up whether or not you get accepted to school. It's not just fucking test scores. You can't just go off of test scores, because first of all, there's people that might all have the same test score. So how are you going to decide between them? Just like when you're going for a job interview or, lots of things. And studies have shown that in a lot of structured environments like schools, universities, university systems, jobs. I have a video on this. Studies have shown that there's a lot of inherent racial bias against certain types of names, ethnic names, or names of people of color, black names, Hispanic names, Muslim names. There's a certain type of bias against, if they can see what neighborhood you came from, or, an inherent bias, a snap judge decision. Not to say that people are sitting in the admissions office, doing the pyramid fingers saying, now this is who we're going to pick to get in, but you make a snap judgment decision. You have you only have 2 slots. You have these 2 applications in front of you. Maybe they have the exact same test score, but one is Jamal and one is James. Your own inherent bias might kick in, and you might just automatically pick up the one that says James over the one that says Jamal, because that's the way that inherent biases work. So with the introduction of affirmative action, which actually benefits white women like Abigail Fischer more than anyone else, what the point of a lot of affirmative action, policies was supposed to be was to kind of override those snap judgments and to override those inherent biases and override that decision-making process that was built on inequality. So, and like I said, even then, they did their standard admissions process at the school, and then they have a program, an affirmative action program that, so even for people that have maybe lower grades, they have a certain amount of kids that they let in because of they call them intangible factors. And out of those intangible factors, there's a lot of things that play a part. It's not just race or ethnicity, but they said that race and ethnicity plays a part. Gender plays a part. Again, extracurricular activities plays a part. Have you played sports? Have you done volunteer work? Your essays, your recommendation letters, intangible things, not just about grades. And so out of that intangible group, again, 47 people got into the school. 42 of them were white, 5 of them were black. Abigail Fischer got her panties in a bunch about the lone 5 out of 47 out of the 5 black people that got in, and said, you know what, one of these black people took my spot, and it's because they include race in their list of intangibles, and I'm going to sue the school that they need to completely dismantle their affirmative action program because it's not fair. And I was like, first of all, it's not like some huge amount of black people got in. 5 of them got in. And those 5 people still made you so pissed off that you felt like one of them took your spot. I've talked about this before. Black people can't have anything. We get little crumbs, and white people still get mad. even those crumbs are too much. They don't want us to have shit. It's like, we supposed to get in first. We're supposed to have the preferential treatment. We're supposed to have the privilege. And if we don't get it and it looks like you're getting something that I don't have, well, I'm stamping my feet. I'm cursing everybody out. I'm suing the school. I'm trying to dismantle all of affirmative action. Like, I'm going from 0 to 10. I'm taking it all the way to the Supreme Court because I have the privilege that I can do that. And that was basically the way this story unfolded. And then the Supreme Court smacked her ass down and they said, listen, affirmative action, number one, it mostly benefits white women. So, bitch, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, because I guarantee that you as a white woman have benefited from affirmative action at some point in your fucking life, in your educational career. And it's not like she didn't get into other schools. She got into other schools. She went to another school. She got a degree. She got a job. This is just on some white, so I gotta be right, so I'm not gonna let it go, which is really the calling card of white women. It really, really is. So the SCOTUS smacked her ass down. They ruled that the program that they have at University of Austin, Texas is constitutional, that you can't rely just, again, on grades and test scores, that there are intangible qualities that every student has, and also that we still are not on a level playing field. And I saw that Son of Baldwin, I believe, on Twitter said, someone said, like, oh, they need to dismantle all of the affirmative action. Because, man, a lot of black people have really fallen for the jig of, and I had comments like this on my original affirmative action video that I made, a lot of black people have fallen for the jig of that we're accepting handouts, that we shouldn't be accepting handouts, that we should want to just, I don't know, get by without handouts and climb up on our own, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and yada, yada, yada. That is a jig. That is a jig. That is a lie that was fed to us as black people. You think white people fucking pull themselves up by their bootstraps? No. Nepotism is a white thing. This idea of, you go to a function and you shake a man's hand and he's a friend of your father, and he'll see if he has a job for you, or he'll see if he can pull some strings and get you into this certain school, or he'll see if he can, put in a good word for you in these certain associations. That's nepotism. And that is a white thing. Like, white people started that. This whole idea of, we're white, so, we get these certain privileges and we're going to stick together and we're going to try and make sure our kids get those privileges and our friends get those privileges and our friends' kids get those privileges, and we're going to look out for one another so that we can get ahead. A lot of people do that, and a lot of other races do that as well, but yet we've been so fucking mind-fucked and colonized that you have black people that really genuinely believe in their heart of hearts that if we do the same thing, we're somehow taking a handout and not pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. And, there's this real ingrained mentality in black people that everything has to be the hard way. And if it's not the hard way, then it's not worth it, or we don't deserve it or something. But it's like, everything doesn't have to be hard. Everything doesn't have to be the hard way. Like, it is possible to help each other out and to look out for one another and to accept help when help is offered to you. That's not a bad thing. But like I said, the mind fuck, the jig has just been so ingrained in us that there's people that's like, well, we should just get rid of all affirmative action. And Son of Baldwin was like, well, they should get rid of the original affirmative action first, which is white supremacy. Again, this idea of nepotism and white supremacy and white privilege, that's the original affirmative action of giving people, privileges and handouts and help based on race. They gave out land in I can't think of the name of the act. It's like a homeownership act, where they gave out all types of low cost, low interest loans for homes and land and property that black people were specifically cut out of. We were specifically cut out of that. So that's how the vast majority of white people even own their homes and own their land, is that generations back, their parents and their families and their great grandparents and their grandparents took advantages of these government programs and these loans and these things that were given out to white people specifically just because they were white. And that is how, 175 and 50 years down the line, you have generational wealth, you have land, you have home ownership, because you got a leg up from the beginning. And you can't sit here in 2016 and pretend like that doesn't matter, and pretend like it didn't happen, and pretend like trying to level the playing field now is somehow unfair. A lot of people really don't understand the concept of cause and effect. Things happen, cause, and they cause other things to happen, effect. Things happen, and then other things that happen. Cause and effect, actions and reactions, catalysts. None of us are sitting here in 2016 in a vacuum that we just magically got here, through fucking spontaneous generation. We just magically popped up and we are where we are for no reason. Like, no, cause and effect is a real thing. Things happen and reactions happen, So white supremacy made it so that for a really long time, Black people couldn't go to schools. Black people couldn't get certain jobs. Black people couldn't get loans. You have the major banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America that were just sued this side of 5 or 6 years ago for still giving out predatory loans and using predatory practices on Blacks and Hispanics and redlining, shit that still goes on to this day. Right now in 2016, this is not something that doesn't happen anymore. So you have to try to correct that. You have to course correct that. And a lot of people have this idea that cause and effect is not a thing, and that the course correction is somehow wrong or inappropriate or racist. In Roots, which I mentioned in my review, Kunta Kinte has a line where he says, they treat you like an animal until you strike like one, and then they kill you like one. Now, that is a really, really serious thing that happens. You're treated a certain way, you're provoked until you react a certain way, and then you're the person in the wrong, right? It's like when you're younger and your older brother is poking at you and poking at you and poking at you and poking at you and poking at you, and you finally say like, stop, leave me alone or something, and then you're the one that gets in trouble. Or somebody's messing with you in school and you say stop, and then the teacher puts you in trouble. Like, you have to go sit in the corner or go sit in the timeout chair or something like that. And there's really this idea that like the original bad behavior doesn't have to be dealt with, right? So like originally Black people were not allowed into universities, which was why they even created HBCUs to begin with, for example. So like the original idea is that Black people were not allowed into universities. So certain initiatives were made up to try to ensure more diversity in universities, to allow Black people in, to level the playing field. But somehow that's wrong. That's inappropriate. That course correction makes no sense. That's racist. It's nonsensical. It's nonsensical. It skips levels. It's like A plus B equals C, but y'all want to skip A, which was the original thing that happened, and y'all want to jump right to B and act like you don't understand how we got there, and like you don't understand how C is happening now. Like think critically. Like look at history and look at cause and effect and look at the reasoning for why things happen. Another example that I wanted to use was the story I read about in the New York Daily News, which is a fucking trash-ass fucking rag, damn near tabloid. I'm not going to link to this stupid-ass fucking story because they don't even deserve it. But they ran a story where they're talking about this Black woman attacks white woman in a racist attack in Harlem. And now the story said that they were in a deli, a corner store, bodega in Harlem, and the white woman called the Black women, the Black people in the store, niggers. She said they're Black people, they're acting like niggers. Gentrifier, because that's what the gentrifiers do. They move into the Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, and then they kick us out. They call the police on us. They claim it. They colonize it, and then they act like we're doing something wrong in the communities and the neighborhoods that we've been in since day one. So she walks in the store. She calls them niggers, right? The Black woman buys a beer, throws the beer in her face, and says, "You white bitch, you don't even belong here," right? The New York Daily News is reporting it, either the New York Daily News or the New York Daily Post, they're both rags, really doesn't matter which one, is reporting it as, Black woman throws a beer in this white woman's face, calls her a white bitch, is being investigated as a hate crime. Number one, calling somebody a white bitch is not a hate crime. Calling somebody white is not a racial slur. It's calling someone a bitch is not a slur. We use the phrase white and Black and non-Black POC and person of color and Hispanic and Latina and Latino and Latinx and all these things as descriptors. And since white people are not used to being described in terms of race, because whiteness is invisible, is the norm, is the default, is the standard, when you call them white, they get their fucking panties in a bunch about it. Like, why are you calling me white? Calling me white is racist. Like, no, you're white. Like, that's what you are. Like, just like I'm Black, that's what I am. Like, if someone calls me Black, I'm not going to get offended. Like, I'm Black, bitch. I'm Black. It is what it is. But when you call them white, that's racist. You're white. You're white. You're white. Get over it. You're white, honey. Like, deal with it, you know? So she calls her a white bitch. She throws a drink in her face. They're reporting that this is a hate crime, a racist attack from this black woman on this white woman. They gloss completely over the fact that the white woman walked in the store and called them niggers. Now, nigger is a racial slur. Nigger is a hate-based slur with a long and torrid history in this country. And yet, if you're white, you can call somebody a nigger and it be racially insensitive. They're never going to call you racist. They're never going to call you racist in print. They're never going to call you racist on the news. They're going to have all these conversations and think pieces around how it was racially insensitive. And you could talk about hanging niggers from a tree, nigger, like Justin Bieber and SAE, and this is what we like to do with niggers, and lynch them and hang them from trees. And all they'll say is, oh, racially insensitive. And they didn't even say that the white woman in the shop in Harlem was even racially insensitive. They literally just like glossed over it, like, oh, you know, and before she threw the beer in her face, the white woman called them niggers, but like this is a racist attack from the black woman, you know. Again, no understanding of cause and effect. Well, there's an understanding. This is very deliberate, you know, because we are living in a racist white supremacist society that always gives white people the benefit of the doubt and throws black people up under the bus. And it's very easy to make black people targets. It's a lot harder to make white people targets, and especially white women who benefit from white female privilege and from this idea of being delicate, special snowflakes, innocent flowers worthy of protection, like Maria Sharapova, and, you know, this whole idea, and even Abigail Fischer, you know, this idea of I'm a white woman, I'm a precious, delicate, dainty white woman, and I can do no wrong, and I have to be protected, and this evil, horrible black woman is so mean to me, and she threw this drink in my face, and it's a racist, hate-fueled attack. Like, you didn't walk into the store and call her a nigger, you know? Cause and effect. Cause and effect is a real thing. White people think they could just do and say whatever and run roughshod over people. And then when there is an effect to that, be it a course correction in the terms of affirmative action, be it somebody throwing a motherfucking drink in your face because you called them a nigger, they think that that is the real problem, right? That's the real racism. I can say whatever I want, but if you reply to me in a way that I don't like, oh, you're the real racist. Oh, you're the real problem. You're the one that's doing something mean to me. And again, we're living in this society, and it's perpetuated by the media, and it's perpetuated everywhere that really, again, elevates whiteness up above everyone else and creates these self-sustaining systems. So just really pay attention to the things that you see and the things that you read and the way that things are presented to you. And these ideas of white people can say and do whatever, and black people just have to take it and take it and take it and take it. And the minute we get angry, the minute we respond, or the minute we attempt to course correct, the minute we attempt to start our own thing, well, we're going to start our own schools, or we're going to start our own this and our own that, and it's going to be for black people only. Oh my God, that's racist, and you're the real racist, and you're doing this and that racist. But there's no understanding of what led to us getting to this point. There's a real denial around history and around cause and effect and around actions and reactions. So it was just really awesome to see fucking Abigail Fischer get her dumbass shut down. That was awesome. It was really, really interesting to see the way that this story between this white woman and this black woman in Harlem is being framed, this narrative. A lot of people also talked about that with the whole Azalea Banks situation. People were saying like, oh, so Azalea Banks's Twitter account can get shut down for the things that she says, but you can't shut down like Donald Trump or Piers Morgan, you know, the things that they say, because the things that they say are just racially insensitive. But you want to make this young black woman, you know, somehow the face of racism, and yet the shit that white people say is never ever racist, because we live in a society of racism without racists, and it's so much easier to point your finger at black people and black women specifically and say how we're doing this and this wrong. But it's never easy to go after the big fish, which is fucking white supremacy, and the fact that white supremacy started all of this, and all of the things that we're doing to try to course correct white supremacist ideals, you know, is not racist. It's not bad. It's not, you know, it seems racist because, like that saying, you know, when you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. You're used to being up here, so now you have, and other people being down here. So now you have people trying to pat the soil down so we're all even, and you feel like you're getting stomped on, right? You feel like you're getting stomped on because they're trying to pat the soil down. Nobody's fucking stepping on you, right? We're all just trying to be fucking equal. And we wouldn't have to do that shit if the original affirmative action of white supremacy and nepotism didn't exist. How about y'all stop white supremacy and nepotism and none of this shit is even necessary anymore? Did you ever think about that? So there will be links in the description box. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.